No. 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 Okay, we're not off to a good start here. Puppy. Puppy. What are you doing? Hmm? I don't know if you guys can see that view behind me or not. Normally I stick everything on the editing program. I can see exactly what you're going to see, but I mean, I'm looking at a screen about that big from here. I can't see shit. So here we go. Sure looks fine. I'm not sure. Well, I think I've been away now, what? I don't know, a week or something? Maybe? 10 days? I don't know. It's starting to it's warmed up a little bit better. It's only about minus 15 now at nighttime, and it's only about minus 8 or 7 currently, which is balmy compared to, it was minus 34 was the worst it was when I first got here, and holy shit was that tough to get going in the morning. And that reminds me of something I wanted to throw out there and ask, and I know that 100% for certain, I know of people in the oil fields working in the wintertime that have witnessed these bizarre beings in the extreme north and extreme winter conditions. Now, what I don't think I've actually read or heard is if anybody has mentioned seeing one of these beings in very cold temperatures with absolute frost covered hair, beard, mustache, everything, eyelashes, you know what I mean? Everybody who's familiar with this extreme shit out here, we've all had it. When we breathe, including the game animals. I've actually harvested deer who we had to wait for their face to thaw out from all the balls of ice that had formed all over their face. There's one big buck's face from cruising all night long, huffing and puffing. And but I don't think we've ever heard anybody report that, of seeing one of these beings in extreme winter conditions with ice formed all over their mustache, their beard, around their face, their eyelids, everything, right? You know what I mean? And that, I think, for me, what I'm curious about currently would help me along with my puzzle pieces. Like I said before, sometimes I am fairly convinced that a lot of these experiences, a lot of these beings people have experiences with, they're not here. They're not here full time, or they just got here. And it's just a theory of mine. Obviously, I cannot say 100%, but it's looking that way to me. And I'm wondering how many of you have witnessed, and for that one friend of mine, the ice road trucker that I came fishing with, maybe, I don't think you even shared that detail either when you saw that thing, and whether or not it had wisps of frost from its breath stuck around his face or his nostrils or his mouth, whatever. And that would be a very important detail for me to take note of for somebody who runs into one of these things in the minus 10, 15, 20s, or even worse, right? Because if you are of this time, this planet, this dimension, this plane right now, and you're running around huffing and puffing up and down mountains, and you require this oxygen to breathe, and you require water, you require everything we require, you're going to have frost all over your face and your hair. Big time. There's no way you're going to be able to prevent it. You see what I'm getting at? And I'm really curious if anybody's seen that detail. And if you have, please share it. Share it in the comment section below or something, or email to me, all right? Because I'm very curious about that. That's small, what could be even a big detail. You never know. See what I'm getting at? You run into one of these beings in minus 30 somewhere, and they don't even have one hint of frozen breath on their hair. Something's up, right? Something's seriously up. I mean, I had it stuck to my eyelashes the other day. It was so cold. Anyway, something I thought about the other day while I was freezing my ass off. Damn, Yes, and I finally got the puppy with me, and it is a girl, and no, I haven't named her. The original owners, they named their kids named her Ruby. One of my best friend's daughter's name is Ruby, so, but she doesn't have a problem with the dog being called Ruby. We'll see, it might be stuck with Ruby, we'll see. That's a Jake break of a big rig working down the oil field road behind me. Now, what do we got? Let's read this one. This one's fairly recent. Time to get some voices shared. I'm getting behind and the emails stack up, and I have a lot of good, honest people needing to be heard. Now listen to this. I don't know what it's about. Hello, Steve. Greetings from coastal South Carolina. The story I'm about to tell you is not my story, but the story of a coworker who we will call Luke, his twin Sam, and their older brother Skip. We'll do it this way because of our careers in public safety. The events happened in the fall and the early 2000s near Green Swamp section of the Waccamaw River on the North Carolina-South Carolina state line. It's very wet in some of these areas with thick undergrowth. A power line to the rear of the stand that runs east to west and the river that runs a boundary north to south. Beyond that is very dense pine forest and viney undergrowth filled with wild turkey, whitetail, wild hog, the occasional black bear, and bobcats, just to name a few. Event number 1. The tree stand sits about 150 yards behind a hunting camp and about 75 yards off the power line facing northeast, and a good 20 feet off the ground. It was early evening, and my co-worker's older brother Skip went to the hunting camp with some friends. His friends went out to the river while Skip decided to head to the tree stand instead and sit for a while. Skip is legally blind and can't see very well, straight on. He does, in fact, have very good peripheral vision. Keep in mind that these boys grew up in this swamp and have hunted their entire lives here, so they are very familiar with this area and the wildlife that inhabits it. So, even with Skip's disability, he is very proficient in the woods and with firearms. Armed with a 12 gauge, and after about an hour of silence, he was ready to head back to camp when movement and noise caught his attention coming from behind him at his 7 o'clock, walking diagonally in front of him. He states it was about 25 to 30 yards away. It was loud through the crunchy underbrush. 2 things. He could make out a dark figure, and the fact that it was upright. It also ducked under some low-hanging limbs. No size comparison could be given. He figured it was one of the others playing a prank, but who in the right mind does that knowing his disability and that maybe, just maybe, you get shot at. It was then that Skip became uneasy and yelled out, "Hey!" No reply. Then it just kept walking. Again, "Hey!" A little louder this time, again with no response. And finally, a third, "Hey!" Louder with no response, and the blur just kept moving slightly away from his left to right off in the brush. He waited until he couldn't hear any more movement. He climbed down as fast as he could and immediately made his way back to the camp. Skip was flustered, still thinking someone was messing with him, but they were all there. Skip decided at that point he wouldn't tell anyone else about the encounter. Event number 2. Fast forward a year. The next fall, Sam was with some friends at the camp one evening. He decided that he would go to the stand and sit for a while. After a short time, he began hearing something coming through the brush from the same 7 o'clock direction. This time, Sam, being very aware and able to see clearly, did not see anything, only hearing something coming through the underbrush, but it stopped just shy of entering his field of view, where someone would have to step out of the thicket and under the low-hanging branches. He was silent for a minute or so. Sam sat trained on the spot with a 12 gauge where the noise had stopped, waiting for a deer to emerge. At this point, it was close to dusk, and visibility was very low. Then Sam heard a very loud, very deep, "Hey, hey, hey," and getting louder each time. Sam also was thinking someone was messing with him. But again, who does that in front of a man with a gun? After several tense seconds, the old fight or flight kicked in, and Sam dismounted the tree in record time with one arm while the other had the shotgun leveled at the thicket the whole way down. He was scared to death. Sam backed out of that section as fast as he could, and once he got to his quad, He raced back to camp. Sam, still not knowing of his brother's encounter a year earlier. The difference between Sam and Skip is the fact that Sam let it be known what had happened. The next day he got a hold of his brothers and couldn't wait to tell what had happened. He was telling Luke and Skip the story, and when he got to the part about the speech, Skip stopped him mid-sentence and said, "Don't tell me it said, hey." They could tell Skip was visibly shaken. Sam said, "How did you know that?" Skip proceeded to tell them about his experience the previous year. Steve, he waited a year to tell his own brothers and probably wouldn't have, by his own admission, if it hadn't happened to Sam. Now, to be clear, the two never said it was a Sabe or Sasquatch or anything that they could articulate, because in one case there wasn't a clear enough view, and the second never showed itself. I heard this story for myself from Luke after working with Luke for several months and finding that we shared the same interest in the subject. He actually turned me on to your channel, and then I spoke with Sam and Skip separately to get the story and hear it from the proverbial horse's mouths. They were very forthcoming to me, but reluctant to let it out to the public. They also stated that over the many years at that camp and in the swamp, there have been many odd experiences that went unexplained, like slapping of buildings, and what now could be described as a bluff charge late one evening at the camp. Only upon hearing similar accounts on this channel can they now piece all that together. These accounts could not be explained because in the 90s and early 2000s there was virtually no knowledge to draw from, and if there were other accounts, people just weren't talking about it. Steve, thanks again for all you do getting these people heard. My name is Ryan, and I truly believe these events happened. I know these guys. I would trust my life with them. They are men of God and would not make up some stuff just to get recognition. Private message. All right, man, I'll read that. 1 second. Be back in a second. Okay, got you, man. I got you at the end of your message. Appreciate it. And you can guarantee I'll be looking you fellas up if I get out that way, or the next time I do. And there's so many people out there that don't talk about it, right? But for all you people that I wonder how many people are watching this channel. They know what they saw, they know what they experienced, and they're not going to admit it no matter what. And that's fine. But just to you people, look what I'm doing, man. It's harmless. It doesn't cause me any pain. I'm still here. I'm good. And I talk about it here all the time. I don't talk about it publicly much. I never ever talk about it, like I never promote it on social. I don't promote this topic at all. You can't promote it. I think promoting this topic is a bit of a waste of time. It's just too much. It's too much for your average noodle to wrap around, especially today with, it's absolutely honest, we are being dumbed down thoroughly and swiftly, intentionally, for whatever reasons I don't know. But just try cracking this topic open to an open crowd right now, right? Wouldn't be that, the end result wouldn't be that productive, I don't think. Anyway, enough people have seen and witnessed this shit now that it's absolutely substantial, and that's what this channel's for anyway. So I'm babbling. I haven't talked in front of this for a while, and I just had a coffee before I started going out again. It's a little early right now, and it's a little sunny out. I got a little bit of time to kill. But anyway, guys, if you're nervous about sharing, just get it out. Get it out and share it anyway. Get it off your chest. There's literally, well, what is it? There's hundreds of thousands of people now, easily. That number is an easy one, that have witnessed this shit. And there's nothing to be ashamed of, embarrassed, ever scared of. All right? It's just a fact of life. It's a fact today that it's going on. There's nothing anyone can do to make it stop. It's not going to stop. So let's get to the bottom of this shit and get everybody heard. Right? All right. What do we have? Let's see if I can get one more in. I don't think I can upload too much at a time doing it the way I'm doing it with my phone on this GoPro, and it's so cold out. That battery is dying so fast right now. Totally embarrassing encounter, but I want to share because of the location. The White Mountains, New Hampshire. Hi, Stephen. Call me Jay, but because of the story, and I'm sorry about parts you're going to have to hear. I don't want to say my last name or my home state. All right, man. Because I'll instantly be known and never live it down. You'll see why. I'm in my 40s now, and for about 5 years in our early to mid-20s, myself and anywhere between 10 and 20 friends went camping almost every weekend. None of us are hunters. All of us were massive drinkers and loved to be outside and actually do things while we drink. So it was a cheap way to all hang out, have fun times, and nobody tell us when it was time to go to bed. We were power drinkers. Everybody had their very own coolers that held at least 30 packs of beer, 60 beers. And that's just for 2 days. If we stayed longer, we went and got more. The hot dogs, hamburgers had their own much smaller cooler. I'm starting to feel hungover just from reading this. So this is one time, instead of camping in our home state, we all drove up to New Hampshire to camp. We didn't know what to expect besides actual mountains. We pulled into the campsite and it was nothing like what we were used to. Each campsite was so isolated, probably a quarter to a half a mile apart, and we were actually incredibly happy about it, not knowing if New Hampshire was ready for our type of camping or not, and not having idiot people complain. Definitely not at this place. We could break out all the instruments, all the sports stuff, bikes, you name it. We could do whatever we wanted and not be heard by anybody. Oh, I forgot. It was also the first or second week of October, so there wasn't many people there. Excuse me, if at all. So the first day went along just like any other day, and as usual, I was one of the last ones up. So I had a burger and went to bed, possibly around 3:30 or 4. Mind you, I was always up by 9 a.m. with another beer in hand. Oh, dude. By the time the people started meandering out of their tents, the same morning I thought someone was screwing with me because shit kept hitting my tent, which was usually the norm for the first person awake to mess with everyone else. But I didn't hear anybody moving or hear the fire going, which the first person always started. And then I heard stuff hitting the other tents, but kind of in a circular motion, meaning it would hit mine, then the next one over, then the next one, then the next one, then the next one, and then mine again, and keep going. So I thought it had to be somebody up already. Right at that exact instant, that 4 a.m. hamburger started kicking me down low. I had the spring in the stomach sound, burring, and had to get out of that tent fast, at least 50 feet away from the campsite. That's the part I would be busted on the most about by my moron friends. So I shuffled quickly while clenching to get away from everyone. I found a huge fallen tree to lean against and luckily avoided that disaster. It was maybe 20 or 30 seconds when I heard a little rustling. I turned to the right a little bit, and out from behind the tree comes a bear cub. And I'm like, oh no, this is the way I'm going to die and be remembered, because I knew enough that the mother must be close by. But as I focused on it more, it seemed a little weird looking. And then I realized that it was actually standing up. Plus, its arms were way too long. Me leaning back against the tree, I figured I was about 4 feet, 4 feet tall in that position. And this thing was a little bit taller than me. So I rubbed my eyes and through my massively bloodshot eyes, I can now see its face. And that was not an effing bear. Not even in the same ballpark. It had a goddamn humanish face. A little distorted in places, but it was a type of humanoid. Excuse me. I don't know where that's coming from. If I didn't just blow up the woods already, I would have shit my pants seeing this face. And it just stood there and stared at me. And I mean stood there, as in it did not move whatsoever. Looking back, I feel like I might have surprised it because I was making noise walking, but I don't really know. It just didn't move and just effing stared at me with an expression I've never seen before. Now I'm really thinking, holy F. With my pants around my ankles, I knew exactly what this was, and it was not a grown-up. So I instantly thought, where are its parents? I had absolutely no idea what to do. So after a bit, I had no idea how long I slowly took my eyes off of him or her and looked the other way and kind of back at camp, like I was making sure it knew there was others, and there was a lot of us. Not to be gross, but somehow I finished normally what I was doing. I had the TP with me, stood up, grabbed the TP, and hopped back over the tree and just walked back to camp. By the way, none of us had any weapons besides a hatchet/hammer and my machete, which was still in my tent with my girlfriend. But obviously, there were chairs set up everywhere, and I didn't know where this thing's parents were, so I wasn't going to hide in a tent and have these things come up on me. So I sat in the chair at the fire, facing the direction of where I came from. I looked up to where it was, and it wasn't there anymore. So I grabbed a beer and started the fire. My heart was racing, trying to see everywhere. But the woods there are so different than my state that you can't see more than 30 feet. And plus, there's tents in all different spots. So I can't see what's behind them either. The first beer went down by the time I had the fire started, so I got another one. And all of a sudden I hear, "Shut the F up out there." Our usual wake-up call. But then said, "You better not have ripped my tent with that shit you're throwing at us." And still, with huge bloodshot eyes searching the woods, I said back, "That wasn't me, you dipshit. That's what woke me up too." Then I hear from another tent, "Effing squirrels." Then people start straggling out of their tents. It wasn't until maybe the seventh person, which was one of my friend's girlfriends, walked over and said, "What the hell's wrong with you? You're sweating and pale. I don't think I've seen you blink once, and I've been out here for 7 minutes and you've downed 2 beers. Which by this time was already 4 beers down in 12 or so minutes. Sadly, that's not even my best record, but anyway. Now there's a bunch of people out, and I'm still scanning all the woods looking for those parents or it. In the meantime, I can't get that thing's face out of my mind. One of my friends actually picked up on it and noticed I was the first one out and asked if I saw a bear or something. I didn't know what to say, so I just said, "No, I'm just looking around." But I could tell by the way everyone was looking at me that they knew something was wrong, and I myself didn't look or seem right to them. So I just said, "I'm feeling a little sick, and I'm going to go drink it away." And that's all they needed to hear because we all did it before anyway. This was only a 2-day trip, so we'd be leaving before nightfall. Yes, we had a designated driver for that who was pissed. I didn't want to ruin anything or cause some big conspiracy type talk for the rest of the day or scare the girls, especially my own, who didn't really like camping. She just did it for me. So I didn't say anything, and we just did our regular routine. As a side note, I never felt like I was being watched. I didn't smell anything at any other times, because at that time they were probably disgusted with my smell. I'm sorry for all the profanity and the disgustingness. That's why I never really wanted to tell anyone. But I can't believe I saw one of them clear as day, enough to where 20 to 25 years later I can still picture every detail in his face. But never got to see the parents. Not that I really wanted to. But I haven't heard too many stories of one that size all alone. So I know at least the... Whoops. Shit. Oh, there we go. So I know at least the mother was around somewhere. That was the end of my camping days, literally. Everyone called the next weekend, and I said no, and have said no ever since. Not because it was a frightening situation, just because now I know they exist, and if they do, what else does the people talk about? Because if I ever walk into an effing wolf man, I'll have a heart attack right there. Thanks for reading this if you do. Double thanks for your site. I've been here since the beginning. I found you through one of Dave's videos years back, and have loved every minute of it. P.S. I'm sorry for everyone to hear the side story, but I just needed to tell it how it happened. Because if I lied or let stuff out, it wouldn't be right. And I would feel like people could tell I was lying. When this was no lie. This thing was standing right there looking directly into my eyes. Oh, I also never had any mind speak. Actually, there was nothing besides seeing that thing. Okay, sorry for the book I made you read, but I hope you got a couple of laughs too. Keep up the good work, brother. We need you. I did my best with the grammar. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions at all. Thank you, Jay. Jay, gotcha, man. Gotcha. Man, that kind of drinking, I think I'd be dead. But teach your own. Life is fun, no matter what. Some people have fun doing things that other people don't. And as far as having your pants around your ankles, taking a crap, and having one of these things seeing you, you're not the first one, man. You're not the first one. Quite a few people have shared the same. One comes to mind, a real nice guy I met that works for the Mount Curry Band. And he had an unfortunate episode by Joffrey Lakes. And he was hunting. And he was doing the exact same thing. And this big, reddish, hair-colored Sasquatch stood up basically right there in front of him and looked at him and walked away. Right when he was in the mid-act of taking a dump, right? It's funny how people think that's so rude, isn't it? I mean, everybody takes a shit every single day. Every single human being takes a shit every day. How can somebody get offended by talking about it? I don't get it. But anyway, whatever. That's not the point of the chat, is it? But anyway, guys. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get moving. I just came up on this hilltop to have a look with my binoculars out across that vast country. And I had a trail camera sitting right here, and I got violated by a herd of elk. Assholes. Such a good spot. I left the camera here 5 days ago with a bunch of scrapes from bucks here and deer prints everywhere. And the very first night the camera was here, 3 cow elk came over, and 1 cow elk would not leave it alone, and she spun it on the tree and screwed me up, so I didn't take any more video. Damn it. But anyway, that should do for right now. I got to get going. I'll try to get more done tomorrow. Try to get more emails shared tomorrow. And then I got to start thinking about making a plan. I got to fly Sarah up here. She's going to drive back with me and the puppy. I have a whole bison that I'm going to be bringing back as well. And I still have some adventure days for me left to go. So that's what I'm doing. Hope you enjoyed the puppy video. That little shit. Thing's so cute, it's stupid. And it'll be the protector of the yard. I think it's a Caucasian Shepherd cross, and very protective dogs. And that's what I bought. It was for the farm after losing 20 some odd chickens to the bears. So what I'm going to do with the puppy, actually, I'm going to put a hole in the side of the goat house, and I'm going to build an addition room to the side of it with a separate entrance, so that the puppy is going to be an outdoor dog. It'll be in the doghouse, close it up at night so cougars, nothing can get at it. And then, but also it'll well have a chicken wire fence wall right here separating the puppy from the goat sleeping right here. And Bailey, that little bitch with the horns, well, she likes to beat the shit out of everybody with her horns. She's gone at little children that have came over. She goes at the kittens. She beats up her Willow, her little sister, nonstop. And if we throw the puppy in there with the goats, she'll just dummy him nonstop. So, but it'll be good. The dog will be able to sleep at night with the goats and be safe at the same time, but feel secure having somebody with her. So there. Enough babbling. I got shit to do. And hopefully I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Huh? Who taught you that your horns would do that, you little idiot? Feed it. Doesn't even care. Get out of here, you psycho.